Welcome back to ProChat Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and today I'm absolutely excited to dive into one of the most transformative productivity books ever written. We're exploring Charles Duhigg's masterpiece, Smarter, Faster, Better: The Secrets of Being Productive in Life and Business. Joining me is Dr. Michael Thompson, a behavioral psychology expert who spent 15 years studying peak performance. Michael, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Sarah. This book completely changed how I understand productivity. Duhigg reveals 8 revolutionary principles that separate high achievers from everyone else.
Let's start with motivation. What's the biggest misconception people have about staying motivated?
Most people think motivation comes from external rewards or willpower. But Duhigg discovered it's actually about internal locus of control, feeling you have genuine choice in your actions.
Can you give us a real example of how this works?
Sure. Researchers studied nursing home residents. One group was given small choices like which plant to care for. The other group had everything decided for them. The choice group showed dramatically better health and longevity.
So choice literally affects our physical well-being.
Exactly. When we feel autonomous, our brains release dopamine and other chemicals that enhance performance. Marine Corps training uses this too. Recruits who view challenges as growth opportunities outperform those who see them as external impositions.
How can people apply this internal locus of control in daily life?
Instead of saying, I have to finish this project, reframe it as, I choose to complete this because it advances my goals. This simple shift activates different neural pathways associated with motivation.
Now, Google's Project Aristotle studied team effectiveness. What surprised them most?
They expected the best teams to have the smartest individuals or perfect chemistry. But the data showed something completely different. Psychological safety was the #1 factor.
What exactly is psychological safety?
It's when team members feel safe to take risks, admit mistakes, and be vulnerable without fear of judgment. These teams consistently outperform those with superior individual talent.
Do you have a concrete example of this principle in action?
Sure. Duhigg studied 2 hospital surgical teams. One led by a brilliant but intimidating surgeon had poor communication despite impressive credentials. Another led by a collaborative physician who encouraged questions had significantly lower error rates and better patient outcomes.
So, emotional intelligence trumps technical expertise.
Often, yes. When people aren't worried about protecting themselves, they can focus entirely on problem solving and innovation. Leaders should start meetings by acknowledging their own uncertainties and actively seeking dissenting opinions.
Let's talk about focus. We're drowning in distractions. What's Duhigg's solution?
He introduces productive mental models, internal narratives we create to understand situations. Most people just try to eliminate distractions, but effective people construct sophisticated frameworks for processing information.
The Air France Flight 447 case study is terrifying. What happened there?
Highly trained pilots became overwhelmed by conflicting information and made fatal errors. This wasn't incompetence, it was cognitive architecture breakdown. Under stress, our brains default to automatic processing.
How do other professionals handle information overload better?
Southwest Airlines pilots constantly verbalize their thinking process, creating mental narratives about conditions. This cognitive narration engages deliberate, analytical thinking even under pressure.
What's the practical technique for building better focus?
Start each day writing a brief narrative about your priorities and expected challenges. This programs your cognitive filters to recognize relevant information and ignore distractions.
Goal setting seems straightforward, but Duhigg argues traditional SMART goals are insufficient. Why?
SMART goals work for routine tasks but limit innovative thinking. He proposes stretch goals combined with SMART subgoals. This creates productive tension between ambitious vision and practical execution.
How did General Electric demonstrate this approach?
Under Jack Welch, departments received audacious stretch goals coupled with detailed implementation plans. Stretch goals activate reward anticipation systems, while SMART subgoals provide neural pathways for action.
What about Toyota's famous production system?
They give workers the stretch goal of continuous improvement while providing specific methodologies for implementation. This creates what psychologists call implementation intentions, detailed plans bridging motivation and behavior.
So we need both the inspiring vision and concrete next steps.
Exactly. Write your ultimate aspiration and next 3 specific actions on the same paper. This prevents overwhelming ambition that causes paralysis and narrow focus that misses transformational opportunities.
Managing others effectively requires what Duhigg calls the coaching mindset. How is this different from traditional management?
Traditional management focuses on compliance and control. High-performance management develops capability and autonomy. The best managers act as cognitive coaches rather than task supervisors.
The FBI hostage negotiation example is fascinating. How does this apply to everyday management?
Negotiators help hostage takers reach their own conclusions rather than imposing solutions. When people feel they've independently reached decisions, they experience strong ownership and commitment.
What's the practical framework for coaching conversations?
Ask questions that help people identify obstacles, guide them to generate solutions, support them in choosing approaches. This activates insight generation, brain reward systems that fire when we solve problems independently.
Decision-making under uncertainty sounds challenging. What's probabilistic thinking?
It's navigating uncertainty by considering multiple scenarios and relative likelihoods rather than seeking perfect information. Professional poker players exemplify this. They focus on decision quality based on available probabilities.
How does this differ from typical decision-making?
Poor decision makers judge choices based on results, which random factors can influence. Excellent decision makers judge based on reasoning process quality. It's process focus versus outcome focus.
What's the framework for implementing this?
Identify what's genuinely knowable versus what requires probabilistic estimation. Generate multiple scenarios with rough probability estimates. Choose the option with best expected value across scenarios.
Innovation seems mysterious, but Duhigg found predictable patterns. What did he discover?
Breakthrough creativity follows systematic processes for combining existing concepts in novel ways. The most innovative people are voracious consumers of diverse information, not pure geniuses having random inspiration.
How does Disney demonstrate combinational creativity?
Their successful films result from structured brainstorming that encourages wild combinations of existing story elements, character types, and visual techniques. Even the iPhone combined existing technologies in a revolutionary configuration.
What's the methodology for becoming more innovative?
Deliberately expose yourself to diverse fields. Create systematic processes for capturing insights. Regularly engage in structured brainstorming that encourages unconventional connections.
Finally, information fluency. We're overwhelmed with data. How do productive people handle this?
They develop sophisticated filtering systems and analytical frameworks. Intelligence analysts process massive, conflicting information, but use hierarchical filtering to focus on high-value signals.
What's the practical approach for developing information fluency?
Define what information types are most relevant to your objectives. Create systematic processes for capturing valuable insights. Regularly review and synthesize to identify patterns and implications.
For listeners wanting to implement these concepts, what's your advice?
Start with motivation and focus. Practice internal locus of control and develop mental models. This creates cognitive infrastructure for everything else. Then add goal setting and decision making.
What makes this book different from other productivity resources?
It's evidence-based. Every recommendation is grounded in neuroscience, psychology, and real-world case studies. This isn't motivational speaking. It's systematic methodology for extraordinary results.
What's your biggest takeaway from Smarter, Faster, Better?
That exceptional performance follows learnable patterns. Whether it's internal locus of control, psychological safety, mental models, stretch goals, coaching mindset, probabilistic thinking, combinatorial creativity, or information fluency, these are systematic approaches anyone can develop.
So productivity isn't about natural talent.
It's about understanding and applying fundamental principles. The most productive people have learned to activate brain reward systems, create psychologically safe environments, maintain strategic focus, and make robust decisions under uncertainty.
Any final advice for our ProChat podcast listeners?
Pick one principle that resonates most with your current challenges. Commit to consistent implementation for 30 days. Mastery takes time, but the compound effects are life-changing.
This has been absolutely enlightening, Michael. Charles Duhigg has given us a masterpiece that demystifies excellence. These 8 principles, from internal motivation and psychological safety to productive mental models and information fluency, show that extraordinary achievement isn't about superhuman willpower or innate genius.
It's about applying scientific insights to optimize human performance. Small improvements in how you motivate yourself, focus attention, set goals, make decisions, lead others, generate innovations, and process information multiply to create exponential performance gains.
For everyone listening to ProChat Podcast, remember that productivity is a skill, not a talent. With the right knowledge and consistent practice, you can dramatically enhance your effectiveness. Whether you're leading teams, building businesses, or optimizing personal performance, these evidence-based principles provide a comprehensive framework for achieving remarkable results. The science is clear. Motivation comes from internal choice, teams thrive on psychological safety, focus requires mental models, goals need stretch and specificity, management is coaching, decisions are probabilistic, innovation is combinatorial, and information requires fluency.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing these incredible insights. To our amazing ProChat podcast community, take these principles and start implementing them today. The compound effects of understanding how productivity actually works will transform every area of your life. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.